This little guy is a little bit different. I'm going to include it just because it is a knitting machine, and just so you're aware of what's out there in case you might want to pick up one of these or something similar. This is an Addi egg. It's a little tiny thing. It's an I-cord or cord maker. I'm going to show you how to do this, how to go ahead and cast on with this, and it's a fun little thing. And you can use it for all kinds of things. I'm using it for pumpkin stems. I've made words with it, like bended words where I put wire in it. It's really, really a cute, nifty thing. But it can be very problematic. I've seen where there's lots of complaints with it, but I think it has to do with the tension, and I'm going to talk to you about that. Okay, so this is the needle that it comes with, and I use it to stuff the yarn through this tiny, it's like a little threader there. You need to thread it through that, which is a little different than the big machines. So you pull that through, and then I need to put the yarn through the center of the Addi egg so that it comes out the bottom. So now I have it coming out the bottom, and it comes with this nifty little weight. It's pretty heavy. You need to do make a little slip knot here. Trying to do it through the camera. There we go. Put it on there, tighten it up. And then the trick here is I have the table, but we're going to let this fall. I'm going to hang on to my yarn, like put my thumb over it here. And then we're going to let that weight fall. And I don't let it touch the table when I'm doing this. So I can pull it up a little bit. If it hangs down low, it's not a big deal. It's wasting yarn, but you don't want to pull it up into the feet where it gets stuck. You just want to let it hang, and don't let it touch anything flat, or it'll mess it up when you're cranking for sure. So, okay, so I got my thumb on there, and it doesn't come with a loom pick, but I am telling you, the only way I've found to do this is with a loom pick. So it's just like the machines. You're going to go in front of the first one, and to be able to go behind the second, we're going to use the loom pick here and pull it over. And I give a little slack where my thumb's at, and then we're going to go in front. I'm trying to do it through the camera here, sorry. And then we're going to go over, and I'm kind of splitting my yarn, which isn't good here. Hold on. There we go. Let me pull that down. Hopefully that'll twist back up. Okay, and then we're going to go in front, and this last one we're going to go behind. There are just 6 pins here. Let me get that one underneath. I did split it. There we go. Okay, so this one was in front, this one's going to be behind, and that's our last one. And just like with the other machines, it should be behind. This is a little awkward for me because I'm trying to record it and watch it at the same time. Okay, so now that we have it like that, I'm going to crank just a little bit more, and now it's cast on. Now it's important that you use the lid, and I'm sorry my light is kind of shiny, but you can see there's a little cutout there for the yarn. You want that right in line with where it threads in, and then you snap it. And then the key with this thing is absolutely zero tension. So I'm pulling my yarn out of my yarn cake, and then and while I crank, let me push this forward so you can see. I don't hold the yarn or anything, and I let my weight down here just hang. And then you just crank, 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 crank. And it might seem a little chunky. So then what you do a few, and then you kind of pull on it. So you pull, and I can't show you the center because of the light. And it sounds kind of clicky, but you just kind of do a few and then pull on it to pull it down. And then do a few, and then pull, and then do a few, and then pull, and it'll start to web in there. Let me pull this off so you can see. It'll start to web in there, and that's what you want. Let me snap that back on. So then we're going to crank, 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 and then I pull, crank, 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 and then pull. And I'm not pulling lightly, guys. I'm kind of pulling hard to pull that down, because you don't want to bind it up because you'll snap the needles. And then it starts flowing really nice. And then I'll show you as it comes out. It does squeak. Sorry if it bothers your ears. Once we get some coming out the bottom, I'll show you what it looks like. I know this is just the cast on section, but I just wanted to show you this nifty little guy. Okay, see, there we have some cord coming out, and it looks really nice. And this is 4 weight Joann's Big Twist yarn, and it works just fine. I don't have any issue with it. Just so I'm pulling every so often. And the other thing is, and watch so you don't get your yarn wrapped around. I'm bad about that. And see, I can move that weight up too. Once it starts to come out like this, let me crank just a few more. I'll set this on the table. I'll just kind of hold my weight. And then I can actually put my weight now, since I have some coming out. And it'll stretch the yarn a little bit, but that's okay. You can, it'll go back. And then you can put it here. So it's not hanging off that long one. And then you just crank, 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 crank. Just make sure there's no tension, and make sure you kind of give it a little pull every now and then. You can just make cord till you can't make cord anymore, till you run out of yarn. So there you go. That's what it looks like. It's so cool. So you can see like a little snowman scarf or something. So there you go. Okay, so I'm going to show you the cast off on this guy. This is the Addi egg I showed earlier in another section on how to cast on. So we're in the cast off section. I want to show you how to do this because it's a little trickier. So I'm going to wrap this around just like I would like my machine. This is exactly how I do it. I give myself some excess yarn. Let me grab my scissors. I'll use my embroidery scissors. And we're going to cut it. I'm just going to cut it down here. There we go. And so we have this. Now I can set this on the table. So we'll bring it over to the table. I can take my weight off, but I think I'm just going to leave it on there like that for now. And then you need to pull it out of where it's threaded in. So pull it out where it's threaded in. And this will be your cast off yarn. Your tail to cast off with. And this is a little bit tricky. I'm not going to lie. It's a little bit tricky. So now I'm going to pull it back here. I'm going to leave the weight on there just so it keeps it pulled down and it doesn't bunch up. So I'm going to go ahead and turn to release. I want to make sure that doesn't get tangled. To release that stitch right there. So now that's released. That one right there. So now I'm going to use my needle that it came with and get underneath there and pull that through as I hook on everything else. Okay, there we go. Let me get my tail. There we go. So there's that one, and then we're going to release the next one. I keep wrapping it around everything, guys. It's so funny. Okay, so then we use our little bendy needle here that it comes with. I got to make sure I get underneath all of my fibers. It's splitting them. There we go. It's a little awkward. There we go. And then pull that through, trying not to tangle it all up. Release the next one. Hopefully you can see that. I really like this. Now, it does not, like I said, it's got some kind of I'm getting it all tangled here, guys. It's, I've seen a lot of reviews and people say they don't like it. And then I get it all tangled up. See, I got it all tangled, but that's okay. We got it. But I think it works great. You just got to get used to it. You got to get used to making sure that you keep no tension on the yarn and keep the weight off of the table and let it just hang. And then let's do the next one here. Hopefully you can see that and I'm not out of frame because I'm doing it off to the side here. And then we have our last one. There we go. And then let me get that underneath there. I got all the weight on here. So then we will pull that through, pull our needle off, and there we go. And then I want to show you this too. On the cast on, I showed how you could hook the weight into it and then it kind of pulls it. All you do is stretch it and then that goes away. So there you go. Cord. Perfect.